What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, getting down fresh out. And we got another dope interview for you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, share the channel. You know, we keep trying to spread that positivity and keep you laced up. Today I have with me Johnny B, the homie from Arizona. Met him through a good friend, Chappie, and been meaning to get his interview for a while. So opportunity has allowed us to come together and to share his story, which is a great story. So you guys get your popcorn and get ready. We're about to get into it. So Johnny, man, tell the people a little bit about how you grew up and where you're from.
First off, I'm super grateful to be a part of this. Thank you for inviting me over here, Herc. Nickname, they call me Johnny B, man. I'm from Ahwatukee. I'm an Arizona boy, born and raised, kind of bounced around from school to school all the way up into sixth grade, and that's kind of when I settled down in Ahwatukee. Growing up, man, I had a good childhood. I mean, nothing too crazy, nothing. Definitely had things. Definitely wasn't. We were probably lower middle class family. Grew up with my dad up until the age of 6, and that's kind of when things went downhill. Mom and dad broke up when I was 6. Dad told me he was leaving. And that was it. Basically, never really seen him again. Maybe as many times as I count on my hand. In and out of my life. Just every 5 years, maybe, I don't know. He was just gone. He just disappeared. But that's kind of when I went downhill, man. Just really turned really rebellious after that point. Never really listened to my mother. I was kind of mad at her at first for him leaving or whatnot. She got into a relationship right away with this dude. He was my stepbrother, and never really a father to me. And I really never even gave anybody a chance to be a father to me. But they were just really bad influences. Just kind of malicious people. Don't want to dig into that too deep, but definitely not people, that helped me in any way, shape, or form, But yeah, bounced around, moved to Ahwatukee in 6th grade, and that's when I settled down. I was just a rebellious kid, man. Just from the jump, just couldn't take authority. Didn't want to listen to nobody. Didn't want to listen to my mom.
So you actually started getting in trouble after your dad left. That's when you really started just having like little run-ins and stuff with just getting in the dirt.
Yeah, just a bad kid, dude. From I don't know, just the shit I did. I was just a bad kid. Ever since that happened, I had no guidance. No.
How important would you say having a male father figure, looking back now and knowing that you have 2 sons? I mean, how important do you think that is? 'Cause I always tell people that around the age of like 10, 11, 12, a woman needs a man to help raise a man. You can't raise a man and not have a man there. I mean, yeah, you can raise him. Hopefully he can avoid a lot of the pitfalls, but statistics have shown that once the male is not there in the household, the chances of him getting in major trouble, incarceration, or something happening, it goes up like dramatically.
Yeah, absolutely. Being a father is huge. I see it with my boys. God, I couldn't even imagine the damage that would happen if I just skipped out on them. Me and my boys are super close. I feel like that's how me and my pops were before he just disappeared. But it's huge. It's huge. To have a father figure in your life, especially for a man, I love my mom to death, she's the most incredible mother ever. She took care of me. She did everything can for me, but I never would ever listen to her. I never feared her. I didn't really fear nobody. I didn't have.
Yeah, I mean, I agree totally with you. I mean, my mom, she was, she did what she could do. She was a great mom, but having, because you look for influences outside the house, because naturally you're male, you're not a woman, so you can't relate to a woman with the tendencies. It's different. A man has to, it's authoritative, like you said. It has to be some type of fear. It has to be some type of, a sense of like discipline. And a man, you're not going to bark up at another man like that if it's your dad or somebody you respect. It's totally different. He'll put you in your place. So I totally validate that point, man, when it comes to having a male role model. So as far as like you having, had your dad leave and getting into trouble, at what age did you first have a running with the law?
You know what? Not for a while. So I got into, I was just a bad kid doing multitude of things, sneaking out, stealing my mom's car as a kid, egging houses, egging cars, destroying things, just ripping up the neighborhood, once I got into drugs, probably about, about 13 years old, I started getting into drugs, and then that's when it just took it to a whole nother level, man.
When did you and Chappie hook up?
Me and Chappie didn't hook up till probably I was about 16 years old.
Okay.
By the time I met Chappie, I was already, I tried meth for the first time I was 13 and never really got off it, Ran into Chappie when I was 16. By the time I met Chappie, I was already, I've already been kicking in doors, stealing cars, basically everywhere I went, it was just trouble, bro. Like as soon as you get on that dope, it's everything and anything is, and anyone is just nothing safe,
Wow.
Met Chap.
Did your mom try any intervention?
Yeah, she sent me to rehab for 30 days when I was 16, when it was really bad. I think kind of before I met Chappie, but didn't do nothing for me. Just, I didn't really know. I mean, I remember the first time I tried meth, it was explained to me, it's kind of like weed, and I don't necessarily consider weed a drug, it's kind of like weed. So of course,
Oh, yeah.
And
Somebody older?
Kind of like my ex stepbrother, him and his older cats ahead of me, about 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not like that. And I just got hooked, man, and just went downhill. I was a crazy kid. Just crime, violence, crime. That's it. That's all that meth entails. Of course, I did everything else. I got hooked on coke. Been hooked on heroin. Been hooked on pills. It was just kind of like the meth was kind of like my thing. My go-to.
And as far as like, after you got out of rehab, and did it do anything for you, or did it kind of like slow you down, or did you just kind of still perpetuate on your path? Or
nah, all it did for me was I gained some weight. I got a little bit healthy, looked good, but I was right back in it, man. And I was doing drugs for 20. I did drugs for 20 years. Been in and out of prison. By the time I met Chappie, Chappie was a crazy kid, but he never did drugs, but at that point he was in rebel mode. So, I got him hooked on drugs. He was already a crazy kid. When that dope hit him,
Oh, it was just amplified.
Oh God, yeah. Chappie didn't last but 2 years on the streets with me, Yeah, like I said, I was already doing crimes, doing robberies, doing things, and then once he seen all that, he just took it to a whole nother level, and he was. That's when he caught his case.
So what was the defining moment in your life when you caught the case that set you down and made you really think like, man, I got it. This is a wrap. I got to kind of change my ways.
Yeah, that wasn't for a while, man. I kind of I was having fun for a while.
So you were navigating still.
Yeah, like I knew that's not the person I wanted to be, the stuff I was doing, but at that point when I was a young kid, I told myself I'll never get caught. Actually had undercovers following me, before I was 18 years old, following me and Chappie around for a little while, trying to catch up, and there's this little gold Malibu. They ran out upon us a couple times. Those undercovers actually robbed me at Chappie's house one time.
Oh, the undercovers?
Straight up, yeah.
How'd that go down?
So obviously I was real big into popping tape decks, popping CD decks, stealing stereos when I was a young kid. I was kind of like the fun of it, and we were at Chappie's house getting high, doing dumb stuff. I was playing with my stereo. He was doing whatever, and the garage was cracked. Well, those two undercovers, I had a couple run-into ones before. They jumped right into the garage, raided us, opened the garage, and I had some dope on me, so I was real paranoid. So good thing Chappie started talking shit to him, because they kind of like started paying attention to him. I was able to stash what I had on me, and then I started talking shit. But these undercovers straight just ripped my stereo out of my car, ripped my amplifier, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we know what you guys are up to. If you want your stereo, come to the police station and get it." And of course, being a little hot-headed young kid, like, you guys will never catch me. I told them, and I was like, I'll have a new stereo by tonight. Believe that. And they just ripped us off and bounced. Threw us in handcuffs for a little bit, searched the garage, searched the cars, stole my stereo, and bounced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a trip. Gold little Malibu. I'll never forget that gold little Malibu.
You remember that gold Malibu, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They actually arrested me again another time, later in my...
You guys sound like you had a personal relationship with those guys.
Yeah. They couldn't keep up, man. They were probably some rookies or something, and just like, hey, go chase these young kids running muck over here in Ahwatukee and shit, but they couldn't keep up, man.
So after that, like, you guys, Chappie said he didn't last too long, but you were still on the streets for a little while after that?
Yeah, I didn't catch my first case till I was a month after I turned 18. It was November of 2003. November 2003. Actually, one of another buddies I was running with was driving a car I had stolen, and I had been mobbing around for a little while. It was a little 2003 BMW Mini Cooper, brand new vehicle. Stole it, driving it, went in a little high-speed chase. He was driving. He's an idiot. He had just passed by a cop, got all paranoid, and just drove all crazy into the slot. And I hopped out, he's gone, and I'm looking around like, there's not a cop inside. This fool's a fucking idiot. He's tripping, So obviously I try to get back in the car and take off again, I'm like, this dude's an idiot. Two old men parked their truck behind me, boom. And they started talking shit to me and like, you're not going nowhere, son. You're going to jail. What are you guys doing? And, obviously we're up to no good. The car, there's no plate on the car. It's just filled with just stolen stuff, jewelry, clothes. Who knows what was in there,
Yeah.
And I tried to back out and like jam in between the truck. I couldn't do it, so I just ignored him and started grabbing my stuff. And this old man grabbed me, tried to citizens arrest me. So I just had to pop him in the face and be in my way, And I was just running, and then this chick was supposed to meet me at the gas station. I made it to the gas station. There's cops everywhere. Made it to the gas station, and then a cop had seen me, so I had as I was walking to the gas station, a cop had seen me, so I had to run. Took off and went and hid behind the gas station, and sure as shit, here comes a helicopter. And like I remember laying back there, and I look up, and then I look down, and I look up, and I just see them, staring.
With the light blow, yeah, you see everything.
Oh yeah, and then sure as shit, here comes the dog and the cop around the corner.
Oh shit.
I ran, I jumped the fence, and it's funny too, because the cop behind me, he tried to jump the fence with me. He ended up breaking his ankle, so he was pissed. I jumped the underside of the fence, shit. And I met about 5-6 pistols to my face, and I had to get on my knees, and that was the first time I got arrested. Charged with like 7 felonies on that arrest, my first arrest.
Oh shit! How much time you end up doing off of that charge?
I didn't. Funny thing is, so when I was 18 years old, after that first arrest, they let me out.
They let you out?
Yeah, they let me out on pretrial services. After I went, I did my little week in the horseshoe.
Okay.
Little week in the county, whatnot. They let me, a little week in the horseshoe. When I finally met the judge, they let me out on pretrial services. So it's cool. Let me out. What did I do? Right back at it. About a month later, as I'm fighting this case, got arrested again. And then on that one, I got charged with like 6 felonies.
Damn.
Yeah, for a bunch of credit cards I had. They charged me for each credit card.
So you were on one.
On one. Oh yeah, of course. I'm everywhere I go. Something's getting snatched up. Something's happening everywhere I go.
Damn.
You know? Back in the day, me and Chap were kind of the people you don't want to bring around. You know, don't.
Yeah, double back and it might be house be empty.
Yeah, they see. You know, they see. You know, I'm a presentable dude, even on drugs. You know, and so like, you know, looks are deceiving. You know, so like, once they let me in, you know, they don't realize, you know, one of the last people you want to let in, you know. And
shit.
so just that was just kind of like, that's what kind of held me back for so long too, just I don't know, man, just getting away with the stuff, and just it was fun for a while, you know, just being straightforward, you know.
So when you got arrested on those 6 felonies with the pending 7 felonies, did they actually sit you down at that time?
No, sir. So they gave me a bond this time.
Damn.
Yeah, they gave me a bond this time. Mama, never been in trouble, you know, so you don't have no priors until you're convicted, right? So they gave me a bond, of course. Mama, you know, Mama comes, she bails me out. Mama loves me. Bond me out that time. And, you know, I stay home for a couple of days, whatever, not really sure how long, but just hit the streets running again, and I ended up catching another case. So at this point, when I catch this other case, it was another 6 felonies. They held me on no bond. That's when they finally locked me down, held me on no bond.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 18 years old. 3 open cases, booked on over 20 felonies. I think it was like 21 was the number. Even when I was in county, it's a trip too, because when they finally locked me down.
You had the same judge every time?
You know what, Kirk? I can't even remember.
Wow.
I can't even remember, because when you go through the county, you go through intake. You know, you just see the intake judge.
Yeah, the magistrate.
Yeah, you don't see your like.
Your sentencing judge or anything like that. So you keep seeing a different magistrate.
I think at one point I made it to a court date after I caught my second case, and seen a judge, and you know, I think the third judge was a different judge, because what they did was they bundled all 3 cases into one big case. Yeah. You know, since I've never been in trouble, I'm a young kid.
Oh, so you had 20-something felonies.
20-something felonies. When I was in the county, when they finally locked me down, I was in there for a couple months. That time, probably about close to 4 or 5 months. I ran into Chappie.
In the county?
Yeah, it's a trip. So, Chappie had what he went away for was this big robbery, and they, at that time in Ahwatukee, they were blaming me for everything. It was Johnny B. Yeah. Johnny B did it. That was what it was, and so they blamed me for Chappie's crime. I even have the article with me. $150,000 home burglary. You know, they blame me, and they obviously they knew Chappie did it, but they blamed both of us, and we're both in that article. And I was already in jail.
Oh wow! But they charged you with it too.
Yeah. They put my name in the newspaper, and my mom tried to sue him or whatnot for
defamation.
Whatever. Yeah. That's the word for it. But I ran into Chappie, walking by. It's like slapped him, woke him up. Hey man, what's up? So we spent about a couple months together in county before he went away.
Okay.
Yeah, before he went away and did his thing. But going back to all that, man, so I got page 2'd a couple times while I was in the county with Chappie. First, some shit was just, catching up to me and stuff. And instead of, so ultimately what it came down to was a judge, 3 open cases. She bundled it all in one. Obviously, Mama got me a lawyer. Otherwise, I would have probably did some serious time at that point. Mm-hmm. But 18-year-old kid, 3 cases bundled all into one. They offered me, I think the ultimate thing with the lawyer was like, they offered me 2.5 years, sign for 1 felony, or sign for 4 felonies and get probation.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Ooh, California, bro, they would have had your head.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what a lawyer will do for you, bro.
Yeah, I know. The state, man, state's totally different than the feds. So, man, so you at that point, what you end up doing with that? Did you take the probation? They got the probation?
Yeah, absolutely. My mom did everything she could to keep me out of prison. In my heart, in my head, I didn't want to live like that. I knew I needed prison. So in my head, I knew I was going. It was just a matter of time.
You're on a time clock to go to prison.
Yeah. I thought prison would set me straight. That's what I thought.
So you got out. You're on probation. how long did you go before you got into trouble again?
Miracle of God, I completed probation because I was still running and gunning. You know, after probably my last year of probation, I was still running and gunning. Completed probation. A week later, right after I completed probation, I got arrested again for. I was 21 at this time. Just completed probation. I got arrested again for home burglary. It was like, you know, they charged me like 4 felonies, burglary tools, all kinds of crazy stuff. But anyways, that case, and I was in jail for about a month that time. I remember it was about Halloween. They were handing out candy in the county. Yeah, they ended up dropping the case. The dude I got hemmed up with, it was like a mutual friend through drugs. So he was there robbing them, but like I'm pretty sure dude strong-armed him to drop the charges, you know? Like,
oh shit.
Yeah, so they ended up dropping the charges on me for that one.
So you got back out again?
Yeah, I got back out again, and then I ended up catching a case right when I turned 22, around the age of 22 or 21, I can't remember, but I ended up catching a case. Me and my boy were on we were just running and gunning, man. Went to go get some dope, and apparently he was talking to an undercover cop. And rest in peace, because he's no longer here. You know, he lost the battle to drugs.
Oh shit.
He's a real good friend. I used to actually play football with the kid. Yeah, he's no longer here, but he ended up setting up a dope deal to an undercover cop, and I got swarmed at a gas station. Boom. I was in my own vehicle this time, but I try to run the curb. I try to reverse, and they just had me swarmed in. So I got caught with a couple IDs and stuff, and they aggravated my charges because of my priors, and I ended up doing 3.5 years. Ended up getting 3.5 years that time.
So, man, you got a crazy criminal history, man. This shit is wild. I ain't never had that many chances, man. Every time I got caught, I was gone.
Telling you, I think it's the face, bro. I don't know.
Man, something, man.
Lawyers.
You go in there and Rico Suave they ass or something, man.
Telling you, bro.
So after the 3.5 years, I mean, how many more times would you go in and out of jail before you actually had the time that sat you down, that set you straight?
So I ended up doing about 3 years on that one, getting out. And you know what? I was on a minimum yard, and, you know, I thought prison would change me. You know, I went in there just thinking, you know, basically what I told them when I got there, if y'all need me, I'm here. But at the same time, like, I'm not trying to raise my hand and go volunteer for no nonsense, especially on a minimum yard, you know. Mm-hmm. But like, it was just, honestly, it was just a time to get a little healthy, get swole, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups, do some sit-ups, and then it wasn't like, literally after I got out, you know, I was right back at it. You know, it wasn't a lesson learned. It wasn't enough. You know, it wasn't one shit. You know, basically like it was just like a boot camp. You know, just went in there, seen some shit, did some shit, worked out, got out. It was just like a boot camp. You know, wasn't really like didn't experience like the craziness, like, you know, being locked down, being slammed down type situation. You know, so what did I do when I got out? Same shit. Just went right back at it.
Damn. And so at this point, how old were you at this age?
I got out when I was 26.
26. So you got out when you're 26. You're right back in the thick of things.
Yeah.
And you know, now it's like you know, you have a extensive criminal history.
Yeah, bad.
And so you know, what came about following this run right here? What was the ultimate result that led to you?
Yeah. So running, you know, actually when I first got out, I was doing good. I had a full-time job. I went to college to try and get a degree. So I mean, I was off drugs for probably a period of like 6 months. You know, ended up meeting who now is my wife. Beautiful woman who, when I met her, you know, she didn't know nothing about my past. Didn't even know I'd been to prison, nothing like that. Just seen a dude going to jail. Going to school. Working, you know, so we linked up kind of, and then Shortly after, man, going to school for a little while, I actually was getting straight A's in college. I was going for my associates. I ended up getting strung out before finals, and I just didn't show up. Straight A's, just didn't show up for finals, and that's when I went running, gunning. I kind of dragged her through the mud. She did her best. She just didn't know what hit her. She wasn't ready. She never experienced a guy like me or just that type of drug scene or just like just the crazy shit I was doing. She just never experienced something like that. So she fought it out with me as long as she could. She even told me a week before I got arrested. She said, "You're gonna get arrested." She picked me up at a gas station. I had just had all the Scottsdale PD looking for me. Don't know how I got away. Just another situation, but she ended up picking me up a week before I actually got arrested again. And she told me, "Johnny, you're gonna get arrested, And I said, "Okay, I'm done." So tried to sober up. Stayed with my sister for a little bit. Just got clean for about a week and just went back at it, man. And just went back at it full throttle. Ended up getting another high-speed chase in a stolen vehicle I was in. I was with just some drug addict chick, and just remember it was a bike cop. But in my head I'm like, this dude can't see me. I'm gone. Ended up getting caught. Kind of hard to run from a motorcycle.
Yeah, he can do a lot of things you can't do,
especially in a Dodge Dart. Yeah. But in my head, I was high, and I'm gone. But anyways, ended up getting caught for that one. I actually should have got away, man. It just everything was against me. Everything was against me, and I remember seeing a shooting star the night before that, and just praying to God, like, God, please help me. I don't want to be this man. I don't want to do this. Sure as shit, the next day, that high-speed chase happened, got arrested, and that's when I went. That's when I caught my case. Cleaned up for a little bit after I got out of jail. Was in jail for a couple weeks. They actually dropped the charges, let me out, and then they grand jury indicted me on the stuff. I got clean for a little bit. Started hanging out with my who was then just my girl, but it was now with my wife. But started hanging out with her again. Just try to settle down, try to straighten up. She knew I was going away, but she still decided to stay with me, and she let me get her pregnant. That wasn't the plan, but she what I seen when my thought process, like, damn, I'm going away. I'm probably going to be facing 10 years on this one. There's no way I'm not going to. That's my mentality. And I explained that to her. She knew it. Ended up getting her pregnant. What I seen in her, my thought process was like, okay, Johnny, if you end up being a drug addict the rest of your life or end up dying or something, your son is in good, or your child is going to be in good hands. That's what I seen her. I never wanted to have a child just because I didn't want to bring anybody in this world in the situation I was, just because I got left hanging when I was a kid, and I don't want to leave a kid hanging because, it's no excuse, but it could go really bad, So I seen that in her, and I gave her. We ended up getting pregnant, and by the grace of God, bro, the judge gave me 3 years and 3/4, so 3 years 9 months on this sentence with my priors.
Damn.
Yeah. So she ended up sticking it out with me. My son Nixon actually took his first steps on a prison yard. This time they put me on a medium level custody at 3 yard. I actually liked it a lot better being locked up on the 3 yard. The respect level was a lot higher. With people doing some serious time, and it was just a little more eye opening than my last experience. Some of the shit I seen and some of the shit I went through in there.
What'd you do differently as far as with your time? What'd you do to prepare yourself mentally during this time, knowing that you had a child, you had a wife, and you knew you had to get out and really do something different?
Funny you ask, Kirk. So my fucked up thought process was, I ended up running a yard for a little bit after I was in the medium security yard, the level 3 yard. Put in a little bit of work where need be, ran a little run, ended up going back to a minimum. My points dropped, going back to a minimum, and ended up taking the yard. So I ran that yard for about a year. So the drugs started coming in. The drugs started coming in. Ended up getting a cell phone on the yard. Me and my little circle set up a little drop real quick. Got this phone off the yard the next day. Everything was up and running. So I started touching down with dope for my whole last 2 years. I had it all set up. So I'm getting drops every other month, every couple months. I'm getting drops. Big drops. Ounce of black, ounce of white. So my thought process was I'm gonna get high. I'm gonna try a needle for the first time. Never did a needle in my life. Ended up trying getting on the IV use in prison, because my thought process was I'm gonna get this out of my system. So when I come home, I'm gonna be ready to be a father. I'm gonna be ready to be a husband. I'm gonna be ready to be a good man. You know what I mean? And that was my fucked up thought process, bro. So I ended up getting strung out in prison. Went through. Just went through a bunch of crazy shit in there, with the dope, even just being on the yard, I just felt like I was on the streets. As soon as I hit the yard, so I'm running amok in prison, and holding the keys to the yard for a little bit, and it was just all bad, it was just all bad after that. But that was my thought process.
And so you get closer to getting released. You're hooked on drugs. I mean, how were you able to at this point stay out of jail, based on the fact that you had kind of put yourself in a deeper hole while you were in jail?
God, just my thought process was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get this out of my system. Just be done with it. I'm gonna leave everything at the gate, And that wasn't the case, man. So I actually was scared to come home. I didn't want to come home. I was scared to be a father. I was scared to be a husband. I was just.
You're making a great point right there, and I tell people all the time. And you guys listen to this, take heed to what he's saying. Here's somebody who said they had the keys to the yard, who was running drugs. And I tell you guys all the time, when you guys see these shot callers and these people in prison, and you say, "Oh, this guy, this and that," he talks about, "Oh, if the man, I'd raise my hand, do this and that." A lot of those guys, man, are scared to hit the streets. When they're on the streets, it's a totally different level of responsibility. Being a man in prison don't make you the man on the street. And he's basically breaking it down. The same shit I keep telling you knuckleheads out there. But I just wanted to point that out because he made a great point, and I always talk about that. Some of the dudes I've seen that were the bosses up in there, you go by and you see them, they got blood dripping off their arm. They just done shot some heroin. And you're like, damn, this dude, he's an OG. He done pressed this dude and that dude, and he's a drug addict. You guys got to get your eyes open, man. But go ahead and expound on that.
Yeah, so like I said, man, I was literally terrified to get out. I ended up actually just not giving a fuck. Ended up catching more time, to come home to my wife and kids. And I didn't get to see her and my son for the last little over a year. I was in prison because I lost my visits. I lost my visits for I don't remember, a couple years, but they took them away from me, so I didn't get to see her. And I remember, like, towards the end of me getting out, like I said, I was running amok, and I had got into some shit. There was some crazy shit going on in the yard. There's some busters up in there, some snitches, some fucking motherfuckers thinking it's cool to talk to cops type situation, and I ended up getting into some shit, getting into a couple scuffles with some dudes, and I like my last couple months, I was carrying a lock down my belt. I had my lock strapped to my waist at all times, going to use the phone, running the yard, because I'm ready, I'm just my experience in the game, just you got to be ready at all times, expect the unexpected, be ready, and that was kind of how I was living. And still, I didn't want to come home, I was just nervous. I felt more comfortable being locked up than coming out to all this uncomfortableness of being a father. I don't even have a father, so how am I going to be a father? That's what I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to be a father? I'm strung out on my drugs. How am I going to be a husband? How am I going to be a man, really, So that was my thought process. I ended up getting out, and I tried. I really tried. I had a hard time getting a job. Good thing my wife, she was my fiance at the time, but good thing if you don't have support when you're getting out, you know, if you're the type of addict that, like, you know, you don't have no family, you don't have nobody, or you're that addict that robs your family and they don't want to fuck with you type situation. It's hard getting out when you don't have help. Thank God I had a little bit of help, you know, you know, the pressure started hitting the fan. The bills started piling up. Just the pressure started to hit. You know, we're starting to fight because, you know, I can't find a job. You know, and I end up taking, you know, a little dead end job. You know, doing some construction and starting at the bottom. You know, I'm 30-something years old, getting out, starting at the bottom. I'm getting paid $12 an hour. You know, and I'm working. I'm hustling. I'm trying to make ends meet, and I just wasn't happy inside. I just didn't feel like a man at all. I had to ask my sister, who's always been there for me as well. I actually had to ask my sister to borrow some money just so I could put some groceries on the table, man. Because I'm literally making $12 an hour. You know, her parents blessed me with a car. Didn't have a car. You know, they blessed me with some little beater. You know, to get me to work and back. You know, for the sake of their grandbabies. And what did I do? Got a construction job. Started drinking heavily. Started using heavily again, and just went down that wormhole, man. Second I took a hit of that beer, man, it was just the next step for me being an addict was not another beer. It was, you know, it was a needle with some drugs in it. That's my goal. I'm not satisfied until I get there, you know. And once I get there, you know, like I said before, just nothing safe, you know. Just started doing crime again, you know. I'm on parole still, and started, you know, hitting licks, you know, doing robberies, doing dumb shit, you know, for what? You know, lost my job, you know, and just dragged my wife through the ringer. We ended up getting married a week after I got out, so she's my wife now, but just dragged her through the ringer again, dragged Nixon, my son, through the ringer. And just like, that's just what happened, you know, that's just how it went down.
So what made you stop, though? Did you have to go back to prison and stop, or did you stop on the streets?
No, thank God. Like, I just got so low. Now I'm getting homicidal. Now I'm getting suicidal because I don't want to be that person. You know, it gets me a little emotional, but that's not who I want to be. So let's go back to prison, or let's just die. Let's just call it. Let them be happy. Not happy, obviously they would just be upset if they lost me, but I'm saying, like, stop bringing them down with me. Stop, you know, stop. I don't understand why. It's just crazy, you know. When you do drugs, you know, it's I'm the one doing it to myself, but I drag everybody I love around me through the mud. It doesn't matter. That's just how it is, you know, because it's just so selfish, you know. But anyways, I just got to a low point, man, and I knew I didn't want to die. You know, I don't have it in me to just end my life. So that was out of the question. I definitely don't want to go back to prison now at this point. You know, I want to be a father. I want to be a son. So, like, I just finally reached out for help. Never asked for help in my life. Never. I thought I could figure it out on my own. I thought I could, you know, get heavy into my Bible, go to church, and I thought that would be the answer. And now I just finally reached out for help, and my wife got me into a rehab facility, so I went to rehab, and that's when my life changed. You know.
So rehab kind of like allows you to kind of deal with a lot of the demons and you know, get it all out and kind of find yourself, and that kind of was a defining moment for you as far as when you felt a personal change.
Yeah, man. Just like, I remember one time right before I went into rehab, and I literally pushed it to the limits, just like everything I do. Was like the last. Had to meet my parole officer that day, and that was the hour I pulled up to rehab. Like, I literally pushed it to the limits. You know, I know once I get in there, you know, I have a better chance of explaining myself and getting away with it than, you know, seeing her in the position I was, or just not seeing her at all and not doing anything about it. So I checked myself into rehab, and just gave it everything I got, you know. Never made it. Never been to any of my son's birthday. Nixon, the one who took his first steps on the yard. My wife's pregnant at the time, you know, and I'm still dragging her through the mud. And I just gave it everything I got. I was ready for change, you know.
So how long were you in rehab?
Just 30 days, man. It was a AA setup program.
So the 30 days you went through the rehab, you felt like you had a transformation at this point, and you know, when you left rehab, what was your plan? How were things different?
So it was a 12-step rehab, and I've always been against the 12-step. I remember I went to a AA meeting one time, and I was like, man, these dudes are a bunch of clowns, you know. I remember even in prison, they had a little AA group set up, and I would be outside, you know, with a dope sack in my, you know, waiting to lure them in. Like, you guys ain't ready, you know. I literally did that, you know. I would wait outside the AA group and just clown these fools. And so I was like totally against all that, but it ended up being a 12-step program, and I gave it everything I got, and I just zoned in and just decided, like, you know, like, enough is enough, you know. The only options for guys like me, guys like you, the only options are prison or death. That's literally the only options, you know. A lot of my friends that I grew up with, you know, in the drug game, they're dead or they're in prison.
Yeah.
Chappie's like one of the only ones that, like, you know, has changed, you know. And I got a lot of them. I got a lot of crazy kids. Ahwatukee is, you know, upper class area. There's a lot of money in Ahwatukee, but there's a lot of wild fucking kids over there, you know, that I grew up with, you know, like, they're dead or in prison, you know.
So you having made this step to change, and now you're looking to start, you know, working. I know that you got a great career going now, and you're doing some really positive things. When did you get involved with, you know, what you're doing now, as far as with you know, being in sales and, you know, being successful and doing your clothing stuff?
So basically, going back to Chappie, he was, when I first got out of prison, he was the only person that came to visit and see me. We just went our separate ways because he was doing, I remember he was at my house too, and I was drinking. I just got out, and I'm like, hey, let's have a beer together, you know. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, okay. I didn't really think too much of it, but he was, you know, he's on that sober shit. So I didn't really put two and two together. So we didn't talk for all the way up until I got out of rehab. You know, I ran into him in an AA meeting. Of all people, I haven't talked to him since I got out, you know. I haven't talked to him, ended up running into him at an AA meeting, fresh out of rehab, because, like I said, I just gave this AA program everything I got, this 12-step, and part of it is, you know, you do your 90 for 90, you go to meetings. So the first meeting, fresh out of rehab, I go to Ahwatukee and run into Pete and his dad. His dad used to hate me. His dad used to hate my guts. Run into him there, and you know, he's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here for an AA meeting. He's like, what? Are you sure? Like, let me see what's in your backpack. You know, that little backpack. Yeah. Sure as shit, I pull up. You know, he thought I was up to no good.
Yeah.
Sure as shit, I pull out an AA book, and anyways, that's how we link back up. And I seen what he was doing, and I'm just like, man, Peter Meyerhoff, like, how is he? You know, I just, like, this dude's doing big things. He's doing good, you know, and he's driving anyways, he's just doing really good, and I just seen him. So we started hanging out. We started hitting the gym together, and you know, he's just kind of looking out for me, kind of took me under his wing in the AA world. His dad as well, and a lot of other OGs in the AA system that I tip my hat to, because, you know, without them, you know, I probably wouldn't have made it, you know. But that's how we linked up, man. And I remember just being so broken, and I just still, I felt good being sober, but I just remember still just like, I don't have a job. My wife's supporting me still. Things are stressful because I don't care what anybody says. Money, you know, money isn't everything. I agree, but I mean, you have to have money to live, and you have to have money to be comfortable. And when your son wants a bike, you know, and you can't get it for him, that shit hurts, you know. And it's nice to be comfortable, you know. So I just reached out and begged him, you know, hey, bro, you know, what are the chances? Do you think you can get me a job, you know? And he ended up vouching for me, and I ended up getting a job where I'm at, and just skyrocketed, just took it to the ceiling, you know. Ended up getting promoted within a year, you know. I have a job I don't deserve, and I'm super grateful, but that's kind of like the whole story, the change, you know, where the success came, and I do everything I can today to be a good father. I try to lead by example. I try to, you know, help the next man that's struggling. You know, I go to a lot of meetings, and you know, I'm all about recovery, bro. You know, I'm all about recovery. Me and Peter kind of linked up and started a little business. You know, the Sober Life. Just trying to. The thing is, like, people, a lot of people are ashamed. You know, like of recovery. You know, it's. A lot of people, you know, like when they have a drug addict in their family, it's kind of like, you know, they're ashamed, and they stay closed about it. You know, like the goal is to be open about it. You know, recovery is beautiful. Sober is sexy. You know, people that are change their life from drinking and using and put that behind them, and now they're living righteous, and now they're being that father, husband, they're being a brother that they never were. That's attractive to me, and that's beautiful. You know, that's a miracle. Just the change, you know, because a lot of people don't make it out of that scene. You know, they lose a battle to addiction and alcoholism, and they're getting buried by their parents. You know what I mean? When it should be the other way around. So it's just all about just trying to help and change, lead by example. Coming up on 2 years. Being clean and sober.
Congratulations, man.
I appreciate that.
So what advice would you give somebody out there struggling with addiction, man, or, you know, trying to get sober, you know, having been through all you've been through? You know, there's a lot of people, whether it's, you know, somebody who maybe is in a great family household, or somebody who's maybe at the bottom, or somebody in prison, getting out of prison. I mean, what would you tell them?
Man, there's a lot to say about that, but just like, there is hope. You can do it, you know. Look at the guys that are doing it, see what they're doing, you know. There's hope, man. You know, just reach out and ask for it, you know. It wasn't until I reached out and asked for help, my life changed, you know. If guys like me can do it, guys like you can do it. You know, I look up to you. I look up to a lot of people you've had on your interviews. You know, I see the change. Look up to a lot of guys in the program. And if guys like you and me can do it, guys like them can do it, you know, it's possible. You can do it too, you know. I've been around some of the worst of them, you know, and there's always hope, no matter how deep your story is, no matter how bad your story is, you know, no matter what you've done, you know, there's always going to be a second chance, you know. Forgiveness is everything to me, you know, and just, you can do it, you know. Absolutely.
Well, I think having you on our show is definitely an inspiration to those who are dealing with some really deep issues and some, you know, some dark places. 'Cause I get people all the time like, Big Herc, you know, what should I do? Or, you know, how could I get help? And sometimes I don't have all the answers. So I try to bring together other people who maybe can speak on something and provide another outlet for advice. And your advice, bro, I think your story is definitely going to inspire some people to do, you know, better for themselves and change some lives, man. So I appreciate you coming on the show, bro. I never knew your whole story. You know, we never talked that deep about it, you know. Just as a person, I know you're a good person, man. And, you know, we've hung out multiple times, man, and I respect you. And, dude, I'd just like to thank you, man. And I know the fans are going to appreciate it. We'll put all your social media stuff in our links. People who want to order your, you know, your shirts, you know, your social media, you guys can see it in the description. And, dude, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man, and telling your story.
Yeah, likewise, man. I appreciate you having me here. It was definitely an honor, and I just hope, man, maybe if I could touch one person, you know, that makes it all worth it, man. You know, for sure.
Well, I definitely think you touched more than one person with this interview. So, you know, it's gonna be big, bro. So, you guys out there watching, Johnny B, Big Herc 916, fresh out.